guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Monday, and if you're new, welcome. I am so happy you found us. Today we're doing something super fun. We're talking vintage postcards and DIY postcards, how you can use them, and yeah. So let's get started. Okay guys, we are talking vintage postcards, and the first ones I'm going to show you are like really old. These are dated anywhere from 1908. I think I even had one that was like 1800. Not 1800, but like 1896, or right at the turn of the century. So these are really, really old, and they're really, really cool. And there's writing on the back. You can still read it. And I mean, they are just gorgeous. I mean, very talkative, very, you can see the writing. You can see the date here that has 1908 on it. And a lot of these were from the same person, believe it or not. So I think I bought them in a pack at a antique mall. But I just wanted to show you some of the great images that are on these vintage postcards, okay? Because the images are just so cool. And you have, like everywhere, you have buildings, and then you have some funny ones. This one is killing time, and he's throwing something at the alarm, his shoe at the alarm clock. And then you have ones that have the flowers on them. Oh, and the fun thing about these two are they are in Czech, which is really cool because my husband is of Czech descent, Czechoslovakian. And these postcards are actually in Czech, so I kind of love that. But you can see there's the typical ones. Here's one that says, greetings from Mouton, Texas. So these are like really old postcards. They're really cool. And you can use them. They even have little holiday ones. St. Patrick's Day. So anyway. So with vintage postcards like this, the really old ones, these again are from 1908, 1900, around there. I like to use these in journals, in art pieces, because I like to showcase maybe the picture, maybe the image on the front, or if I do a family history journal or something like that, I would even leave the writing visible on the back and make it maybe a flip out, because even though it's not our family or our writing, it is family history. So I like to utilize these. I hate to cover up, especially when it's so old. It's in another language. It's just too cool not to use that way. But other ways you could use these, of course, is you could make them into covers for a journal, or you can make them into pieces of a mixed media piece, of course, always. Again, because the images and the writing on the front are so pretty. You could also use these on coffee tables, desks, something that maybe you write on occasionally, but like mine, I paint on it, so I wouldn't use them on that. But you could use them on tables or desks and decoupage them on, and then either put resin over the top or decoupage the top, so you have a really cool tabletop. You could use these as display only placemats. Connect a few of them with the same theme, like flowers or holidays or something together. You could also, like my table in my living room is from the 1930s. So I could connect all of these and make like a vintage table runner out of postcards. Of course, I would protect them, but I would not actually use the table runner for food. It would just be for decoration. You can also put these on those big art canvases and use them as art on your wall. You can frame them into groupings and use them like that. So there's a lot of usages. There's a lot of use for vintage postcards. Love them. Now, another type of vintage postcard are, from the 50s, 60s, 80s, those time periods. And these are more what we see today. And I have a whole stack of these, as you can tell. And these are, you know, city postcards that somebody went on vacation and just picked them up like we always do. Now, again, these are great for your journals as using them for the picture. If you have a theme, maybe you're going on a cruise or an airplane or a trip or something, you can find some travel related ones and use those in your journal to throw a bit of vintage in there. And these are all blank, okay? So that makes it really easy. You could write on the back and like that, and just use them in a journal as a journaling card, of course. Like I said, they're all blank on the back. You could also do something super fun and go on your trip and send this through the mail to a family member. How freaked out would they be for an old postcard on a modern trip? So that's a fun idea with these. Again, you can use these in mixed media pieces always, because they make great additions to collages. These would make fun placemats if you're having a themed wedding, shower, baby shower, just a party at home, a barbecue. If you're a person that likes to travel and you collect postcards, you might want to add them to your collection. You could do a wallpaper out of these as well. You could, you know, decoupage your desktop. There's 1,001 things. Did you know you could also use these as types of flashcards, history cards? There's all sorts of uses. All you have to do is get some and let your imagination take over. That's why I love postcards. And again, these are all blank. Now, say you bought some and you wanted to do the thing where you send it through the mail because you think it would be super funny to send somebody a vintage airplane postcard. Just cover it. Put some cardstock on the back and then write it. Put your stamp as usual, okay? Super simple. Again, if they have writing but you want to use them in a journal and they're going to be like a flip out or something, you could put photos on the back of you and your family. You could put, again, cardstock and write on the back. So they are useful. Don't discard them. Estate sales, you can get whole bags for like 10 cents. I think I got this as an estate sale for literally 10 cents, okay? So just let your imagination go wild. If you're doing a swap in some groups, junk journal swaps, mixed media, art swaps, whatever, include these. If you have an Etsy shop and you don't want to spend the money on fancy receipts or thank yous, get some vintage postcards and write your thank you on the back. It's a great way to reuse them and keep them out of the landfill. Then the person buying them might actually use them in a journal or an art piece or something. So there's all sorts of things you can use vintage postcards for, and they're great. Okay, so what if you want to do postcards, but you don't want to necessarily do vintage ones? You want to make your own. Okay, so I've got some ideas for you how you can do that. And first of all, let me say you don't have to spend a lot of money to make. I dropped something, guys. Hold on. Okay, let me say this. You don't have to spend a lot of money to make your own postcards. You want to make them for swaps. You want to just send them. You want to make them for journaling cards, but make them more fun. You want to make them for your Etsy shop or your store out in town, whatever. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Now, I got a pack like this, blank, and I think I got these at Walmart, and I think they were like $1 a pack, and there was probably like 20 cards inside. I know there was 20 cards inside. And I think I got them, or maybe it was at Target in the dollar section. So keep an eye out and you can find blank ones. But what if you're like, I don't even want to spend that? Guys, just get some cardstock. Cut them to the size of a postcard. These are 4x6. You can also cut them to 3x5s. And just decorate them and use them as a postcard like that. Super simple. Now, how would you decorate this? Oh my gosh, how wouldn't you decorate this, okay? There's 1,001 things you can use. You're limited, again, only by your imagination. You could use stamps. You could use ink stamps. You can use old photos. You can use cardboard. You might say cardboard's super thick. Just look, cardboard peels apart. There's like layers. And look at that texture. Look at that interest. Add that on there. It's still not that much thicker, see? Only a little bit. You can add cardboard. You can decoupage a napkin. You can use a snippet. If you've made a snippet, you can put some of your snippet on there. You can paint them. You can use beautiful paper on them. You can use stickers. You can use old book pages that have beautiful artwork on them. You can use magazines. So you get the idea. You can use whatever you can think of. Now, if it's going to be a little thicker and it's going to be 3D, maybe you need to slip it in an envelope. If you want it to have the postmark on the back and be a true postcard, then just use flat things. But there's still 1,001 things that you can send through the mail. Napkins, stamps, beautiful paper, book pages, magazines, okay? Even stickers, anything flat you could still send through. So whether you want to do a 3D or a flat, that's up to you. That's just whether you want the stamp on the back that says it went through the mail. And I will say this, if I send them, I like getting the stamp on the back because if people keep them, then it will be like my vintage postcards years from now, you know, that people think are so cool. That's something to keep in mind. So just, yeah, think about that. And lastly, I wanted to share some postcards that I have received in swaps. And I just think they're super beautiful. Now this one was shipped in an envelope because it does have 3D elements. It has the little gear at the bottom and some bling. But isn't that pretty? Okay. Now this one was sent through the mail. It's totally flat. But it has so much interest and movement. It's so fun. And this is probably a cardboard type. It's not a real postcard, as you can hear. This one is a real postcard, and it just has paper decoupaged on it and then some words. And it was sent through the mail. This one was also sent through the mail. It does have a little height to it. Not anything major, but you can feel the flower. It has some gold leaf, and it's so pretty. It uses stamps and paper. Now, this one is just from a piece of copy paper, and they drew it on, and I just love it. And it was sent in an envelope, but this one could have very well been sent through the mail. No problem. And this one's a real postcard, or a real base to a postcard. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay. So, don't think postcards and think they're something of the past, because you can definitely use die cuts and anything else at your disposal and create memories. Create something that maybe somebody will have in, gosh, 200 years, 100 and 200 years? No, 1908, 113 years, because that's how old these postcards are now. So don't pass up vintage postcards of any age. Oh my gosh! Don't pass up postcards of any age, because there's uses for all of them. But if you don't want to spend the money, make your own. And they'll be just as beautiful, and people will love them. Thanks for being here, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video on vintage postcards and DIY postcards. What's your favorite? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you make your own postcards, post a picture. I'd love to see it. Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.